So this is a cool problem from the homework last night. It was on page 553, problem number 41. They gave you the side lengths of a triangle in algebra x plus 5, and 25. They told you the longest side is 25, so you know the hypotenuse. And so I started with Pythagorean theorem, and I just subbed in those values, and I started hammering this thing out. Some cool algebra comes of it, because when I do that, then I realize that I'm having to square x plus 5, which I'm showing you here how I foiled that. That's what I call it when I multiply a 2 by 2, is to FOIL. And so I foiled that, and then I simplified that, and finally I got to this point. And when I got to this point, I got to make a decision, like what am I going to do to solve for x? Well, this is typical in our textbook. When you have x squared, if you move everything to one side, then if you factor, then you'll be able to find the answer to your question. So factoring a trinomial is something that was supposed to be learned in algebra, but I do think that it's worth looking at. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, and what I do is I just trial and error, because I'm pretty good with knowing the factors. But so when I do this, I factored out a 2, which left me with this trinomial is what I'm trying to factor. So here's my trial and error. I already know that x times x will give me x squared, so I know that's the first term. And then I'm looking at factors of 300. Here they are over here. These aren't all of them, but all these multiply together to give me 300. Well, I need one of those to subtract to give me 5. And so when I look at that, 25 and 12 doesn't do. Oh, here's one that subtracts to give me 5. So I know that it's going to be 15 here and 20 here, or it could be the other way around. But I know that the last terms, because of the fact that this is negative, these will be different. And the one that's going to be positive is, in this case, you look at the middle term, and it's positive, so therefore I know that the larger number has to have the positive. All right, and so the reason I factored like that is I moved everything over and set it all equal to 0. So I just need one of these to be a 0, because any one single 0 in there would make the product 0. Well, what plus 20 would make this value 0? Well, negative 20 would make that value 0. And what minus 15 would make this value 0? Well, 15 would make that value 0. And then 2 is 2. And so which of these would work? Well, negative 20 isn't going to work for x, because if I subbed it back in, negative 20 plus 5 would be negative 15. So this would end up giving me a side that isn't length of a side. So that's why the answer, if you look in the back of the book, you found that x is equal to 15. That's the one that works. That's the only one that would work.